Hey friends, today we're going to be on page 345 and then we'll be doing just the front side of 7-4. Okay, so they're going to show you how to use a multiplication table, which you're familiar with seeing, which is right here, right? And to find equivalent fractions. Equivalent means equal. So you're going to use this table to find fractions that are equal. Okay, they're going to show us how to do it. So let's read the directions. It says the table on the right here, shows part of the multiplication table at the left. Okay, so this one over here is like only showing part of the big one. Okay, notice how they left certain things out. Okay. All right, so what they're showing you is that I can use, they're going to give you a fraction. It says you can find fractions that are equivalent or equal to 1/3. Okay, so notice the fraction, 1/3, by using the products in the rows for the factors 1 and 3. So look what they did. They took the top part of the table here and they circled there's 1/3. Pretend that fraction is 1/3. So if I keep going across and I slide down this row, I have 1/3. If I keep going across, I'm going to find a fraction that is equivalent. Okay, so I'm sliding across. And the first fraction that I come to is 2/6. So that is equal to 1/3. And then my next one is 3/9. These are all equivalent fractions. 4/12, 5/15. Okay, and the one that they wanted us to get to was 6/18. Okay, so you can see that that's right here. So then I look up and I see that that is in the 6th column. So that means I'm going to take my numerator and my denominator. So put 1/3. I'm just writing it over here. I'm going to take them times 6. They also did it over here. And then I'm going to take both the top and the bottom number times 6. And 1 times 6 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. And then I'm at that magic number of 6/18. Okay, so they want you to figure out what you're going to times by to get the end one. Okay, I know that seems confusing, but it's going to get clearer down below. Okay, so let's look at our first one. It says complete each fraction equation. Look in the top row of the table above to find the multiplier. Okay, so I have 1/3 and I want to get to 4/12. So let's go back up to our chart, right? So I have 1/3 and then I'm going to drag over until I get to 4/12. Okay, I'm going to use a different color here, guys. So go back up to your chart. So I have 1/3, 2/3, 3/2/6, 3/9, 4/12. This is the one that they wanted us to get to, right? So when you get to the correct one, they want you to look up and pick or say what your multiplier is. So it's in the 4 column, so I know that I have to go 1 times 4 on the top and 3 times 4 on the bottom. And that gives me my answer of 4/12. Okay, so you're figuring out what the multiplier is. Okay, and they're always going to give you the end number, but you need to find it on the chart. Okay, let's do one more of those, guys. Okay, it's kind of cool that you can use your multiplication table. So I'm starting with the 1/3 again, right? And then I need to drag over till I get to 9/27. Okay, so I start here, I keep going, and I keep going, and I'm not there yet. And then I get there right here, 9/27. So what was the multiplier? This number right here is the number that we're going to times by. That's our multiplier. So I'm going to say 1 times 9 equals 9, and 3 times 9 equals 27. It's always going to be this number on top. For the multiplier, you're going to use that on the top and the bottom. Okay? right. Now, when you get down here, they're going to use 1/3 one more time for number 8. But then when you get to number 9, notice they switch to 1/4. Okay, so then, okay, I'm using 1/4. Okay, so then I'm going to be dragging along at a different spot, aren't I? So I have 1/4, then the next one is 2/4. Excuse me, 2/8. Then it's 3/12. Remember, I'm going to keep, oh, I'm already there because the number I wanted to get to was 3/12. So then I look up at the top of the column, and what was the number that was the multiplier? Okay, it was 3. So that's the number that I put in on the top and the bottom. Okay, and now on the next one, they're doing 3/10. Okay, so you're going to be looking at different numbers. You're going to be looking at 3/10. So that's the column that you're going to be using. And you're going to keep going until you get to 30/100. Okay, so I have to keep going. I'm going to go all the way to the end of the chart until I get to 30/100. And then I'm going to look up to see what my multiplier is. Okay, so I want you to try to do those last few on your own. When you get to the bottom, I want you to use your cross multiplying here instead of the chart. Okay, so I want to tell if these are equal or not. Okay, so we're going to say yes or no. All right, let's do one of those together. So we've got 3/4 and 12/16. And they have different bottom numbers. So I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to say 4 times 12. I can do that over here on the side. 4 times 2 is 8. So I know that one's 48. And then I'm going to say 16 times 3. I'm going to figure that one out to see which fraction is bigger. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3. Oh, look at that. They're both 48. So it says tell whether they're equivalent or equal. I would write yes on the line. Okay. If you get that they're different numbers, if one's 24 and one's 48, then they're not equal. Okay. So use your cross multiplying to figure that out. All right. And then you are going to meet me on the front of 7-4 when you are ready. All right, guys, so we are going to you can use the fraction strips, but I think you can probably do these without that. But remember, you can look back on page 333A to see that if you would like. Let's write that up here, 333A. 333A to look back for the strips if you want to. All right, so they're going to have a shade. All right, so we have two fractions on number 1. We have 1/3. So that means I'm dividing it into 3 parts. It's already divided. My top number is the number that I am shading. Okay, top number is shaded. All right, so for 1/3, I'm going to, my top number is 1, so I know that I need to just shade 1 of the sections. And then 2/6 is the one underneath. They've already divided into 6 sections. The top number is 2, so I know that I'm going to shade 2 sections. Okay. Now, you can tell that 1/3 and 2/6 are equal or equivalent to each other. They're taking up the same amount of space, aren't they? And so now down below, in this section down below, I'm going to show how to write that. Okay. All right, so I have 1/3 equals 1 times, I need to figure out 1 times something is 2. And remember, these two numbers are always going to be the same. So 1 times something is 2. Well, 1 times 2 is 2, right? Once you figure out the top number, then you know the bottom number, okay? Because I can check it, though. I can say, is 3 times 2 6? Yes, it is. So we're just showing that they're equivalent, okay? All right, now notice on the next ones, they're not so nice. They don't divide them for you, right? But we can handle that. All right. So we are going to do the first fraction is the first bar and the second one is the second one. So the first one says 3 out of 4. I'm going to go ahead and just write that right there because 3 over 4. And then the bottom one is going to be 9 over 12. Okay. We always know that the bottom number is how many parts, because remember the top is the shaded, the bottom number is all the parts total, okay? So I know that I want to divide that first bar into 4 parts, and with fractions they need to be equal parts. So if I want to make equal parts, we're just doing our best here, but I'm going to divide it in half once. Just do your best there. All right. And then I'm going to take each of those sections and divide them in half again so that I have 4 equal parts. Okay, now I need to shade 3 out of 4 parts. Okay, I'm going to shade 3 out of 4 parts. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And that one is done. Okay, then I'm going to move on to 9 out of 12. Okay, so I know that this bottom one I need to have 12 parts. Excuse me. All right, 12 parts. All right, so 12, I'm thinking if I divide it in half, that would be 6 parts on each side. Now I have 6 on each side, so I'm going to divide it in half on both sides. Okay. Now I need to make 3 sections out of each one of those so that I end up with 12, okay? So I'm going to draw 2 lines in each section, okay? Two lines, just the best that you can. And after you do that, you should have 12 sections, and then I know that my top number is my shaded number. So my top number is 9, so I need to shade 9 parts. Okay, so now use your colored pencil or crayon or whatever you started with. We are going to shade 9 of those. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've shaded 9 out of 12. Okay, now when I go down to do my numbers or my fractions, okay, I have 3/4 is equal to 3 times, and then you need to figure out your multiplier. So 3 times something is 9. 3 times something is 9. Well, if you're good at your facts, you know that 3 times 3 is 9. And then whatever you get on top, you know that's also going to be your bottom number because 4 times 3 is 12. Okay? All right. So that one was a little harder with a lot of parts, but so we are going to do one more of those. I'm going to say that this one's extra credit. I'm going to see who does that one for number 4, but I want you to do number 3, and I would write the fractions over here like we did. I like that better so that you know. So remember, your bottom number is how many parts you need, okay? So like on 2/5, I'm going to need to divide this bar into 5 equal parts, okay? And then on the bottom, I'm going to need to have 10 equal parts, okay? Number 4 is extra credit, okay? And then on the bottom section, it says complete to show how the fractions are equivalent. It's almost exactly what we did up on top, okay? So the 2 fractions were 5, 6, and 35 over 42. So do you see how the 1 is here and the 1 is here? But what is the multiplier? So 5 times what is 35? 5 times what? Well, if you can look at your timetable, right? 5 at the top, drag down to 35 and over, you're going to see that 5 times 7 is 35, and then I know that 6 times 7 is also 42. So they're leaving different squares, they're leaving parts that are missing, okay? So on the next one, you're going to do that, but notice that it's missing. They left a missing on top. So they said 4 out of 10, but then you're going to be figuring out, when you figure this part out, what's going to go in the box. So right away I say 4 times 10 is 40, right? And then the bottom part is 10 times something, okay? Well, I already know they took it by 10 right here, so I know that that's also going to be my number down here. So then you're going to do 10 times 10 to figure out this one, okay? And they're just leaving out missing numbers, okay? So you have to figure it out, and that's what they're doing down below here as well. Let's look at number 7. Okay, so I have 4/5 here, and then I have missing squares. So I have to do my multiplication. 4, because the bottom number is here, I'm gonna work on the bottom first, because 5 times something is 45. Figure that out, 5 times something, and then once I get that number, then I'll have the top number because it'll be the same, and then I can figure out this guy over here, okay? So 5 times something. I think you guys can figure out the rest of these, okay? On number 9, I would definitely work on the top first because you know that the top number is 18. So you just have to figure out 3 times something, and then it'll help you figure out your other numbers, okay? And that is your math for today, guys. Thanks for hanging in there with me.